Um, yeah, Patrice O'Neill. But we've been kind of started the Radiohead rabbit hole. Literally just started. Really, I've only done a couple Radiohead, but this is from Patreon request from Mint Chocolate Chip. He said, "Yeah, check this out because it's funny." Patrice breaks down Radiohead's Creep. Yeah, let's go.
How do you feel now, loser? Remember when you was prime?
It's the No Name Show. Patrice O'Neill ripping it up in studios at Cobb's all weekend. Make sure you go support him. Patrice, you got a lot of stuff going on, dude. Professor Whiteness and stuff. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we want to.
Yeah.
When?
What do you mean when?
Oh, is this music sounds like get out of the room music?
No. Yeah. See you, Patrice. We'll talk about it after the show.
It just got louder.
We're going to go to Matt's house and talk about it with his wife. Come on, man. Get out of here. No, we're still doing the radio show.
Well, my show is called Patrice O'Neill's Guide to White People.
Yeah.
Hopefully Comedy Central will pick it up.
They better, man.
And all it is, basically, is I think white people have had a bad rap, and my character in the show teaches others from other countries and people in this country that this is white man's world, and I'm going to teach you things on how to get along with them.
Beautiful.
Because I've been fighting with white people my whole life. So the best way to know is know your enemy, and I'm pretty good at knowing white people, so I'm just going to go and make sure you understand the music, what passive aggression is. It's very important.
Yeah.
You cannot meet passive aggression with aggression.
What does white people music? What does it mean?
You know what? It's like music that means things to them. Like for instance, I love quote unquote white people music. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Hip hop is black people music.
Yeah.
But not just rock and roll, but like, okay, here's a couple of things I didn't know. I didn't know Neil Young was such a beloved white figure in music. He's beloved, and he should be investigated, and people should know, like black folks and any other.
That's not a bad shout, actually, because even like I have mates that are into bands, obviously, and I was always into older music, like 60s. I was well into the 60s. But I remember saying to my mate about Neil Young and saying, Neil Young, I was like, you got to get on Neil Young. And I'd just before got him into Bob Dylan, and he like fell in love with Bob Dylan. And I remember saying to him, basically the same thing I said about Bob Dylan. I was like, get on Bob Dylan. He was like, really? And I was like, yeah, trust me. He's well worth listening to. And I said the same thing about Neil Young. And when I said, no, trust me, he was like, really? Neil Young? And to be fair, he never really got into Neil Young like he did Bob Dylan. So yeah, I get what Patrice is saying there. That is like a very small group of people like Neil Young.
Should know how important Neil Young is as
even less now after the whole Joe Rogan thing.
Artist to white people.
Still good music, right?
How important the song Creep is.
Oh my God. Don't you say anything bad about that.
The magic of this song Creep. It's when I heard it, I'm like, oh, it's a good song. And then I seen videos, and it's mesmerizing to white people. They start floating. I'm a creep. I'm a loser.
There we go.
Dude.
It just comes on when you talk about it.
I'm telling you, 7 people just crashed into the bay just now. They pulled over to cry or jump in the water.
It's like the sensitive side of white man.
But it's something about this song. It digs deep to this loserdom.
That all white people have?
That white people have this innate thing where they want to feel bad. That's why they voted for Barack. It's just like, I'm a creep. I didn't own slaves, but I'm a weirdo. And I'm gonna tell you the part too that I learned is very important to white folks. I'm telling you, I've been studying. I study, man. It's not. This feels good.
Yeah.
I wish I was special. You're so effing special. Man, yeah. Whatever that little part is, That digs into white people's soul. That part, it does something to you. Look at him, he's crying. He's standing up straight. No name, I'm telling you, my show is not about trashing white folk. It's about understanding. I think white people don't get enough understanding. We need to understand.
That was Patrice O'Neal dissecting Radiohead's Creep.
Creep means, let me tell you something how important that song is. At least 7 big-time bands have did a remake of Creep. As if it's from the 1920s. It's just from 1993. And other bands with bigger names have done a cover of this song. It means something. People should know this.
Thank you.
I'm learning a lot about my white self just from hanging out with Patrice O'Neal this morning. Patrice, thanks for rolling in the studio, dude.
Thank you, man.
Always fantastic to see you at Cobb's Comedy Club. People, trust me, you will worship Patrice for the rest of your life. You go see him live. He completely rules. Patrice O'Neal, everybody, let's hear it for him.
Thank God. Everybody. Good to see you guys. Thanks, man.
Live No Name Show.
It's your little pal Cat. Meow. At 11 o'clock is your next chance to win.
He's got a point. Because I remember watching a documentary about Kurt Cobain and how did this loser, as in Kurt Cobain, become the most famous person on the planet. And he's like, but it makes sense. There's a lot more losers in the world than winners. Like, so if you, Tupac said a similar thing. Tupac said, I write songs for poor people, so I'll always have a job. Because there's always going to be a load of poor people. And he said, and if you write songs for poor people, you're always going to, there's always going to be someone to relate to it. So I kind of get what he's saying, right? And I don't know whether it's a case of you want to feel bad. I think it's just that most people, lives are shit. And, yeah, I do get what you're saying, because I always remember that from a Kurt Cobain documentary. What was it about this boy, this kind of outcast kid that fucking set the world on fire? And it's that people relate to it more than if you're talking about you got millions. Even though that seems to be the topic of songs today. But yeah. But then to me, like, Radiohead was just never one of them bands for me. Like, now, like, I'm older, I'm doing reactions, and people have kind of saying, check this out, check that out. Like, it's It's funny as well that he went from Neil Young to Radiohead, because they are both, because Neil Young's the same. I love Neil Young. I still love his music even after the ridiculous stance he took against Joe Rogan. But he is depressing. You can't listen to too much Neil Young will kill you. Like, really, if you just sit and listen to Neil Young records, the same with all them bands for me. Pink Floyd's another one. I can put a Pink Floyd album on, but to listen to them, again, I relate it to the hip hop world. Joyner Lucas. Joyner Lucas is one of the best rappers that's been around for years. But every song, like the song about suicide, Jesus, like, you can't just listen to that on the daily because you just kill yourself. He writes such dark, sad stories. To check out, if people haven't listened to Joyner Lucas, I'd recommend listening to Joyner Lucas. I can't remember what the song about suicide is, but that's one. He's got Happy Birthday, which is about his girlfriend cheating on him and her having a kid that he thought was his, I think. But yeah, I know what Patrice is saying with that kind of mentality, especially in bands. Like that seemed to be where bands, maybe because of Radiohead, that they kind of lent bands into that more, that vibe. But the thing is with Radiohead is that they are like, I've listened to not many, maybe four now, if that three, but they're good songs, like they're well made songs. So you can get away with like having sad music and that when your songs are actually good. But if your songs are just sad for the sake of being like, if your selling point to them is that you write sad music, then yeah, yeah. But anyway, yeah, that was jokes. That was jokes. And he's right about Neil Young, because Neil Young, even amongst white people, don't know that he's actually beloved, beloved artist. But like I say, I mean, he really missed the fucking ball with the Joe Rogan thing. It's like, how are you, Neil Young, talking about censoring people? So as soon as you start talking about censoring, you're automatically just. Let's not forget, it was Neil Young that had all of America fuming because he take like the national anthem or some American song and rewrote the lyrics, basically dissing America. It's like, you've got freedom of speech to say that, but Joe Rogan can't have a doctor on to say everything they're saying about COVID is bullshit, which has actually been proven to be true. I saw an article the other day that now they've admitted that COVID was made in a lab. And it's like, bloody, like you would be banished off the internet for saying that like a year ago, but now, so yeah, I do think Neil Young really missed the ball on that. I don't know what he's thinking. But anyway, that's the reaction. Sweet.